Alien vs. Predator was the killer app on the Atari Jaguar. Sure, there was Tempest 2000, which was fantastic, and there was an excellent port of Doom, but when it came to the Jaguar exclusive titles, Alien vs. Predator was the game. For many of us, it had it all. It was extremely cool, it was innovative, and it had the intense action that we wanted from our early to mid 1990s video games. But the one thing that people often seem to wonder is, how well does this game hold up? We can play Doom on our calculators, on our cell phones, and heck, even on our smartwatches. We can play versions of Tempest 2000 on the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. So is Alien vs. Predator still an awesome game that can only be played on the Jaguar? Well, I spent longer than I care to admit attempting to find that out for all of you. So let's see if Alien vs. Predator is still worth playing today. AVP is a first-person shooter that was developed by Rebellion Developments and published by Atari in 1994. And it features 3 unique scenarios on one cartridge, with completely different playstyles, objectives, and attacks. You have the Marine, which plays as a typical FPS game of the time. You have the Alien, who is all about spreading the hive and rescuing the Queen. And you have the Predators, who are looking to face the strongest foes that they can find, all while building up their honor. Of course, all 3 campaigns share the same basic controls, graphics, and gameplay, but there is enough variety here to call each one different from the other. But I can tell you, after spending many hours with AVP, that the Marine campaign is by far the most fun to play. And I guess I could start by telling you all why. The Marine campaign starts with your character waking up from cryosleep and finding that the vessel he's on isn't how he left it before committing his crime. Apparently, you attacked a superior officer, and that's because we play as one bad mamma jamma. Anyway, our military ship is now under control of the 2 distinct alien life forms, the Xenomorphs and the Predators, and all we can do is try to escape with our life intact. We immediately pick up the shotgun, but eventually we'll find a pulse rifle, a flamethrower, and a smart gun. And each is useful, especially against the Xenos, but I don't recommend taking on Predators until you find some of the heavier artillery. The layout of the ship can be a little confusing, and it honestly gets worse the longer you play. Having the minimap available via the 8 button is a godsend. And it loads in real time. There's also signage in the Marine ship to help you get your bearings and know where you're going. But good luck once you make it to the Xenomorph and Predator ships. Everything looks the same, and I found myself going in circles more often than I care to admit. Overall, the game runs at a decent clip. Not 60 or even 30 frames per second, but 20 or better, I'd say. And it looks fine. The game is built around it, so combat feels pretty good. My only complaint visually is just that too much looks the same, and it's easy to get turned around. The audio design is great in my opinion. The sound of the guns are distinct, and it's easy to tell which enemies are close by. You'll hear the clicks of the Predators and the screams of the aliens. It's all just very atmospheric. You'll also hear the grates over the ducks move when you explore. You'll hear cocoons split apart when you start encountering facehuggers, which also might have the coolest effect when they attack you, by the way. And you'll even hear the Xenos' acidic blood burn your feet when you have to step over it, which is really annoying, but the sound effect is great. Much like Doom on the Jaguar, there is no music, but I'd say that it makes the game much more atmospheric and, dare I say, scary. You'll hear things happening all around you, and I honestly started to become paranoid trying to figure out where they were coming from. It was great. The visuals have aged, but I found them serviceable at worst. But let's see how the gameplay holds up in 2025. Turning and strafing feels devastatingly slow, and I have to admit that I found my character woefully underskilled for fighting large groups of aliens, which, by the way, the game loves to throw at you. Walking over the aliens' acidic blood also makes killing them frustrating. You'll have to try and kill them in wide open spaces, but many times that's just not an option. So taking unavoidable damage, well, it's what you have to do. But the game does a great job in creating a fear and a tension, and you'll want to kill all the enemies ASAP to get some relief. Encountering the cocoons and facehuggers are equally intense, but keeping your distance is key here, and you want to do that with all of the melee enemies. The predators, on the other hand, are deadly powerful. It took me forever to find anything other than a shotgun, and it'll take 20 or more shells from that gun to lay down a predator, which makes them feel really challenging and a little scary to fight. The gameplay is clunky and slow, but no less fun and action-packed than it was in the 90s. I liked it, but I knew the whole time that I was playing a game that didn't age all that well. So if you're not forgiving of the old school, well, you better just stay away. Each campaign has their own ending, but let me put it like this. It's the journey that's important, not the destination. All the endings will no doubt disappoint you. The Marine ending is the best, but that isn't saying much. The Alien campaign is very different from the other two, and it'll have you taking the role of a xenomorph trying to save the Queen. You also have the ability to cocoon humans for additional lives, which is a nice touch. You simply slash with your claw, stab with your tail, and slash with your claw to do so. But keep in mind, the gestation period for this cocoon is agonizingly slow. You'll see the progress in your HUD, which I haven't mentioned up to this point, but is a really cool addition to the game. Anyway, if you're low on life, then you better be careful until a new xenomorph is born. Unfortunately, you usually don't have the option of whether to stay with your current or move on to the next, but it's still a nice mechanic in my opinion. I found the Alien campaign to be the second best of the three, but I did run in circles over and over again, trying to figure out where to go. Just a hint, the vents are your friend in the Alien campaign. The Alien campaign is probably the most confusing when it comes to figuring out where to go. But it's also the most unique, so I guess it's a give and take. And then you have the Predator campaign, where you're looking for the ultimate warrior challenge. And that's fighting the Queen of the Xenos. She is large and imposing if you ever make it to her, but man, it's a long way with a lot of weird twists and turns. The Predator campaign isn't bad and is probably on par with the Alien one, but it was still my least favorite. You have the ability to turn invisible, but you shouldn't attack enemies while in this camouflaged form. If you do, you could lose your honor and the right to use some of your cooler weapons. As I said, each campaign feels like a different game, but to me, it's clear which one they spent the most time on, and that, of course, is the Marines. The other campaigns feel sort of like an afterthought, as there's a lot of areas that generally look the same, and I don't know, it just felt less than the Marines campaign. Regardless, Alien vs. Predator is a great package that was a lot of fun to play. And it's aged a little better than I anticipated, but it's definitely aged. AVP is not perfect, and some will find the frame rate and the gameplay just too slow to be forgivable. But for everybody else, well, it's a game that's worth your time to play.
Computer engaged.
That's why I'm going to give Alien vs. Predator on the Atari Jaguar a score of 4 ergonomic Jaguar controllers out of 5. It's just so atmospheric, and so much fun to play that I couldn't give it a score of any less. It has aged in a lot of areas, especially since it was released in 1994. But to be honest, that should be expected. I'd say that Alien vs. Predator is a step down from Doom, but when it comes to first-person shooters of the time, what isn't a step down from Doom? That game is the top of the mountain, and remembered fondly today for a significant reason. But hey, you've all heard what I've had to say about AVP, so now it's time to hear from all of you. Do you agree with my thoughts and my score? Have you played Alien vs. Predator before? And is it worth picking up a Jaguar for this exclusive title, in your opinion? Let me know your thoughts on all this and anything else you want to say in the comments down below. And please, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and a dislike if you hate me. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to reach 7,800 subscribers before the end of the year. And if we do, I'll be giving away a Pac-Man Special Edition Atari 2600 Plus console. How cool is that? So subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload. Oh, and I'll have more information on how to enter the giveaway after we hit our subscriber goal. Okay guys, I've been the 7800 Pro Gamer, a man who is suffering from some discomfort in my stomach, and I think I need to lay down here at the Atari Network. But I'd like to thank you all for watching, and until next time, remember to stay classy, Atarians.
What on earth got a hold of this guy?